Hey, what's up, guys? I'm back with another video. This time, I'm just gonna go over some of my favorite Prime Warframes, some of my favorite non-Primes, and just kind of explain them real quick, really. Nothing too crazy today, but figured this might give you a start on which Warframes to go for. So first we have Saren. This was my first Prime Warframe, and is still one of my favorites and one of the most OP in the game. She is definitely worth getting. Uh, she just kind of decimates maps. So first we have spores. Inflict a target with a pox of corrosive spores. Spread spores to nearby enemies by destroying them or killing their host. The longer the spore spreads, its damage will increase. So as long as you can keep the spores going, they will do more damage. And I believe that goes infinitely. But it's crazy amounts of damage and absolutely worth using. Her passive status effects inflicted upon enemies last 25% longer, which means the corrosion will last longer. I put Eclipse on her, which is from Mirage. You don't have to. This is where her molt would be. Um, it's kind of like a little decoy, and you can augment it to where it actually regenerates some health. So if you're looking to survive more, maybe keep the molt and put the augment on. But Eclipse, the reason I do Eclipse is because it increases, well, damage. Standing in light, Mirage deals heavy damage, while in shadows, make Mirage difficult to track and even harder to hurt. So it's both a damage reduction buff and a damage increase buff. You're going to want to be in the light most of the time, though, because the damage increase, at least with my mod setup, is 255%. So that's why I use Eclipse on Saren. Toxic Lash. While active, attacks deal additional toxin damage. This effect is doubled for melee strikes, instantly bursting spores when attacking afflicted enemies. So you can burst spores with this, which will spread them. It also just doubles toxin damage on melee. It's a solid ability. If you don't really care for it, you could Helminth it off and use something else. You know, if you want to keep your molt, you could Helminth the Toxic Lash off and put Eclipse or Rhino's Roar or whatever. Whatever sounds fun to you, put it on her. Try it out. I think Eclipse is one of the better ones. There is probably better, but Eclipse is a really good damage increase and a damage reduction when needed. So if you're going to Helminth, I would get rid of either Toxic Lash or Molt. I personally think keeping Toxic Lash is the better choice, though. Next is Miasma. Release a poisonous miasma that deals viral damage to enemies in range. Foes afflicted by spores are more susceptible to the mist. So this means if they have the spore on, they will also get the viral damage, or more likely get the viral damage, and it will actually amplify the spore damage. So it's something you're going to end up using. It's almost like your spam ability. It's a good ability. If you don't have Saren, I suggest getting Saren. If you're able to, definitely try to get Saren Prime. She might be vaulted right now. If she is vaulted, you can earn plat and buy her with plat. But I do suggest getting at least the regular Saren if you don't already have, Saren Prime. So that is probably the Warframe that I've used the most because it was my first Prime. I've also formatted it 10 times because I've changed things around and tried to make better builds. Next, I'm going to talk about Korra, which I kind of talked about a little bit yesterday in my last video. Whipclaw and Strangledome go hand in hand. They are basically, you put up the Strangledome, you use the Whipclaw, make sure you have a stat stick, and it'll hit all the enemies in the Strangledome. Ensnare, it's a CC that is actually very good, but you're gonna use Strangle Dome more than anything, because more than likely you're gonna do a Pilfering Korra build, because that gets you more resources. Why wouldn't you? I helmet in Spectro Rage. This is where your Venari command abilities would be. You don't need those. You will keep Venari because it is Korra's passive, so there's no reason to really keep it. So I suggest putting putting Spectro Rage in, which is Gaara's ability. So you can put what you want, look up some things, figure out what works for you, but Spectro Rage is really good if you're going for a Pilfering Korra build. And I only wanted to briefly go over Korra because I already talked about her recently, so we're gonna move on. Mesa Prime is an easy go-to for a lot of people because she just destroys everything. So we're gonna look at her abilities. Shoot dual-wielding sidearms 15% faster and reload single-handed sidearms 25% more rapidly. Gain 50 bonus health when not using melee weapons. So you could technically take off your melee weapon and get an extra 50 health. I don't think that's really worth it, but shooting dual-wielded sidearms 15% faster and reloading single-handed sidearms 25% faster is really good. Ballistic Battery. When activated, this power stores damage caused by guns. When triggered again, that damage is channeled through the next gunshot. So it's just a big damage buff. It's not necessarily the most amazing ability, but it is a solid ability for a single target. It's not going to do much for other targets. Shooting Gallery gives an ally extra damage while jamming the guns of nearby enemies. This power shifts between team members. It is absolutely a great buff. Keep it on as much as you can. Shatter Shield. This is kind of like your defense. So envelops Mesa in a barrier of energy reflecting back incoming bullet damage. The damage reduction, at least on mine, and it might just be how it is, I can't really remember, but the damage reduction is 95%. So use Shatter Shield. Peacemaker. This is one of your main abilities if you go with, well, like the build I have. With intense focus, Mesa draws her regulator pistols, shooting down her foes in rapid succession. It destroys everything in her sight. It is crazy. It's really fun to use, but you don't actually have to use it if you go with a build more focused around your sidearms. So it's up to you. I like the Peacemaker builds. I think they're fun, but Mesa Prime is one I really suggest getting because you'll use the hell out of her. And then one that I just like to use, and she is really good, is Mirage Prime. Mirage Prime is just solid. Sliding lasts 85% longer, and acrobatic maneuvers are 50% faster. Whatever. Passive is whatever. Hall of Mirrors, this is what I base my build around. Mirage creates an entourage of doppelgangers to confuse and distract the enemy. They do 52.8% damage, and if you augment it with Hall of Malevolence, the damage increases by another 5%. Absolutely a good ability, and it's a lot of fun to use. Sleight of Hand, booby trap nearby objects while conjuring an irresistible jewel that bursts with radial blind when touched in darkness, or a radial explosion in light. Conjure multiple smaller jewels with the help of Hall of Mirrors. So Hall of Mirrors and Sleight of Hand kind of go hand in hand. It's decent. It's not amazing. You don't have to use it, but like it doesn't hurt to use it. If you're gonna helmet an ability away, I would say either her fourth ability or her second ability. Her fourth ability is still good, but you have to build around it for it to be good. It's that orb right here. I could see it being used, and I've seen people using it, but I don't think it's as fun to use as the Hall of Mirrors build. That's my personal opinion. Eclipse we've already gone over on Saren, but just gonna go over it again real quick. Standing in light, Mirage deals heavy damage, while the shadows make Mirage difficult to track and even harder to hurt. 95% damage reduction in the shadows, 528% damage increase in the light. It's solid, and I'm sure my mods are changing what it actually does, so keep that in mind when you're building this. Next, I helmet in Empower. You don't have to. There are likely other abilities that are better, but I was trying some things out, and this is one I came across that seemed kind of fun, especially for Mirage, because I do believe it increases the strength of Hall of Mirrors, but I haven't figured that out yet. So increase the strength of your next ability use by 50%. I mean, I'd say that's pretty good. I'd say that's solid. You know, if it doesn't work with Hall of Mirrors though, I would helmet in something else or use an orb build. I don't really care for the orb build. Like I said, it's not as fun in my opinion. So it's up to you. But that orb can be really good to clear out just a room. So you would have to build for it though for it to be useful in things other than low level missions. Okay, and real quick, I'm just gonna quickly go over some of the non-prime frames that I like. So Zaku is one. It's a really fun Warframe. Passive 25% damage reduction on AoE attacks and chance to avoid incoming weapon damage. Solid. Nothing wrong with that passive. Zada's Whisper, wield void damage for all attacks from equipped weapons when activated. It's an extra 59% void damage. Not bad. It's a decent buff. Grasp of Lock. Void tendrils steal weapons from nearby enemies to use as your own floating auto-targeting armament. Damage output increases based on enemy level. The number of weapons grabbed also determines the damage multiplier for the Lost Denies Void Beam. It's a lot of fun to use this because it like gives you turrets essentially. It's what I like about Zaku. It's my favorite ability on Zaku, and I tried to build for it. So if you find a different way to build Zaku, go for it. But I like that one a lot. Elemental Ward. This is actually Chroma's ability. I helmet this in place of a different ability. I don't remember the ability, but this one is really good. I like this ability a lot. Depending on Chroma's elemental alignment, an offensive area of effect is created. Chroma and its nearby allies are imbued with defensive energy. So a lot of different things happen depending on the elemental alignment. So I'm not going to go over each one because that would take a little long, but it is good, solid. You can see it now. Up to you. Use different ability if you feel like. Last is the Vast Untime. Temporarily shed the outer pieces of Zaku in a destructive blast, then stalk the battlefield in a new, swifter skeletal form. Enemies damaged by the body shrapnel are rendered weaker to void damage. So this would go good with Zada's Whisper because they become weaker to that void damage that all of your weapons are now doing. Zaku's other active abilities duration is frozen. That means Zada's Whisper, Grasp of Lock, Elemental Ward. All of that would be frozen in time and resume after this expires. The duration is 32 seconds with my build. You do more damage. It's fun to use. It's a good ability, and it makes Zaku kind of crazy, to be honest. Next, this one is literally just fun. She's not good. She's just fun. I don't I don't know what else to say. I really like Ureli. Ureli is a ton of fun, in my opinion, but she kind of sucks. Ureli gains plus 200 critical chance for secondary weapons when she has been moving for at least 1.5 seconds. So you could make a secondary weapon build with her, and it's actually not bad. I don't think you're going to push Steel Path with it, but it's not bad. Sea snares form 5 water globules that seek out enemies and expand on contact, simultaneously damaging and immobilizing their victims. Enemies hit by the globules take increased damage from all sources. It's solid. It snares them, and then they take more damage. Nothing wrong with that. I actually got rid of her K drive thing that she has because it's cool, but it's not great. You could absolutely keep it if you wanted because it is fun to use, and like I said, she's really just for fun. I put in Breach Surge. This is a Wisp ability. Open a dimensional breach to overwhelm nearby enemies and cause them to release aggressive surge sparks when damaged. Wisp may also target a reservoir to teleport to it and double the range of the surge. The second part doesn't matter because you don't have the reservoirs. But she blinds. The damage multiplier is 4.58 times with my build. Status chance is 45% with my build. Aqua Blades. This one's actually probably the most fun to use, especially if you keep the K drive. Tear through foes with the trio of orbiting aquatic blades. They literally just go around her in a ring, so like the low level stuff just gets destroyed by you walking, as you can kind of see in the little video they show. It's fun. Is it good? I don't think it's actually good later on. It's really good for low levels though. Next, and this is what you'll likely build around if you build a Ureli, Riptide. Drag enemies into a crushing maelstrom and then blow them away in a watery burst. Each enemy trapped in the vortex increases the burst damage. This can get really crazy, but again, I still don't think it's gonna do a whole lot in the end game of Warframe. So Ureli, solid early game, kind of whatever in the end game. If you're just looking to have fun though, go for it. Just play Ureli. She is fun. And then I have a bunch of others that I do like. Like I really like Protea. She has a turret. She has a way to just get energy and health a lot. Titania Prime, she can just fly around the map, and her pistols that she uses are crazy. So a lot of fun. Gara Prime is a good defense Warframe that a lot of people get annoyed with, but I find her fun. Harrow is a great support frame. Lavos can change the statuses of his abilities, so a lot of fun there. Nidus is crazy good. Pretty tanky, actually very tanky, and does a good chunk of damage. Bolt is fantastic for Eidolons. Hydra's okay. Excalibur Umbra is actually a free Warframe you'll get that is very good. I actually have a Zero Forma build that I do have on my channel, so if you're wanting to check that out, just type in I think Zero Forma Umbra Excalibur, and you'll probably find my build. It was it's not gonna push Steel Path or anything, but it is really good for Zero Forma. So when you get Umbra Excalibur, if you haven't already, check that out, and you'll be able to push a lot of content. You won't be able to push the end game that much, but you will be able to push a good chunk of content. Just by going through the story, you'll get him. The rest are kind of they're good. They are good. Like Trinity Prime is fantastic, a great support Warframe. Octavia, same thing. I think she actually does good damage too right now. You can make most, if not all, the Warframes good. Ember's a lot of fun. You just summon meteors and destroy things. Ivara is great for like spy missions, and honestly just fun to use because who doesn't like a bow? Okay, that might just be me. Ash is like an assassin, really fun. Sevagoth is really cool because he's like a spirit that just kind of destroys things. You're gonna have to play these things to figure out what you like, but I want to just give those few suggestions to start with. So Saren, Korra, Mesa, Mirage, Zaku, and Ureli. Ureli, like I said, not good, but fun to play. So if you're gonna go for Ureli, go for Ureli last. Like, do yourself a favor and go for Ureli last. Wait until you're able to kind of do more things with other Warframes, because you won't be pushing, end game with Ureli. So, yeah, that's really all I can say about that. But those are my favorite Warframes, and some of the better ones to use if you're just starting out or looking for a new frame to get. This is not this is not the end all be all. Everyone has their own opinions, but Saren is probably one of the best Warframes to clear maps. Mesa, one of the best as well. Resource farming, Korra, and Necros are the best ones. Every Warframe has their place. Even if they're bad, they're still usable in some content. So use what you like, but also keep in mind some of the ones you might want to grab first. That's what this was for. Hopefully you guys kind of got something out of this. Hopefully, you'll know which Warframe to go for first if you're new. Or if you don't have them, now you kind of know which ones to go for. But with that being said, guys, thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you want to see content like this, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you next time.